And I invite you to join me in the chat room on IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com. There you could join me in the chat room. You have the phone numbers to call in. Everything is there on IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com. So there's not much that really upsets me in life. I'm a pretty happy guy. Those of you listening to Political Hitman on Israel News Talk Radio know that I'm fairly happy most of the time. Okay, that's probably not the truest statement in the world, but we'll go with that for now. One of the things that really gets me upset, though, one of the things I really don't like, is when people take advantage of a situation to further their own personal goals. And people do this all the time, and it drives me crazy. I hate it. When people do things in order to promote themselves, and they take advantage of a big situation in order to promote themselves. And this is happening in the United States. This is happening right across the United States, and I want to talk about that. And this is a reason why the U.S. is actually falling apart. That life in the U.S. is coming to an end as we know it. There's going to be no real reason for anybody, Jew or not Jew, to live in the U.S. The U.S. is falling apart, and the politicians in the U.S. are allowing it to. I want to tell you about a couple of things happening there that is very concerning. And the reason it's concerning is because things that happen in the U.S. affect the rest of the world. So we really have to look at them. The trends that start in the U.S. generally carry forth to the rest of the world eventually. So we have to look at what's happening in the U.S. and understand these problems that are happening there and ensure that they don't happen elsewhere. It's something we're going to talk about. You could call in live. Go to IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com. The numbers are on the top of the page. And, of course, click on the chat room button and join me in the chat room. I'm Howie Silbiger. This is Political Hitman on Israel News Talk Radio.
And we're off.
And there was an intro that said nothing.
Why? I think it said a lot with the rest. Well, I was thinking that the rest of the world is something happens in the U.S. and the rest of the world always follows.
It's true, though.
I wouldn't say
One sec.
Be biblical. Be beautiful.
Oh, okay, I see what happened. 1 second. I opened the chat room and it started playing.
I see.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so I wouldn't say that it affects the rest of the world. I would say more than that. The rest of the world follows.
Yeah, it sets the example for the rest of the world. And it does. It does set the example for the rest of the world.
Which I must say, is very hypocritical of you guys to the rest of the world, Canada, Europe, because you guys are always like, oh, Americans are so, they're like, they're so loud always, and they think they know everything, and they think they're.
I'm just warning you that I'm airing these back conversations on Facebook, so everybody's listening to what we're saying. Just so you know.
Okay.
So everybody's watching the background. What's going on behind the scenes here on Israel News Talk Radio while I do the show. Everybody on Facebook gets to watch the behind the scenes look at what we do here. Yeah. I'm talking with Kalman. Kalman is the producer in Israel. And when I don't do, my best, when I think I didn't do my best in the intro, I generally tell Kalman that's pretty much a lot of nothing I just said there, and he usually argues with me. So just to give him background, Kalman.
No, I usually agree with you.
Yeah. So, but the truth is that people do follow what is said. What is said in the States, they follow it. They use it as a
look. The world
as an example.
The States decides to do a Black Lives Matters protest, and the whole world goes crazy. We also must protest for our blacks.
That's true. I want to talk about I'm going to talk about Black Lives Matters a little bit.
Years ago, it was with the legalization. Remember, there was a big push for legalization.
Yeah.
Like, what was it, 5, 6, 7 years ago? The whole world went into the streets and did all these stupid legalization.
That's true. That's true. And you know, when it starts in the States, it continues everywhere else. That's the way it works. And it's sad. It's sad that the States, the moral wasteland of the U.S., is what people tend to follow. It's very sad. Because the U.S. is a moral wasteland. But, you know, what can we do? Common, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, good, good. Because I just heard a click. It sounded like you disconnected. I just want to make sure we were still connected.
Given the chance, I would disconnect from you.
I understand that. And I don't blame you. I would disconnect from me, too. For those of you watching on Facebook, Twitter, or not Instagram, you have Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. You're watching behind the scenes of the Political Hitman Show. We're just airing everything tonight. So you get the behind the scenes look. You get to hear me talking to Common, and the show will be back on in just a few minutes. They're doing news now, so it'll just be a few minutes, and then the show's back on the air. It's all Common's fault.
Yeah, blame me.
Oh, who else am I going to blame?
I don't know, not yourself, that's for sure.
No, it's never my fault, Common. It's never my fault.
Oh, you're right, 100%. Never your fault.
Never, ever, ever. The problem is that my studio has fallen apart. Comment. That's the problem that I'm dealing with now. Those of you watching on Facebook, we're on a little break here on Political Hitman. You could join me in the chat room by going to IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com, and I'm in the chat room there. You could join me there for the entire show, IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com. The numbers to call in are on the top of the page on IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com. We're on a short break in Israel. They are playing news and a couple of ads, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. You are watching behind the scenes at Political Hitman. I'm not turning off the camera tonight, so you're watching behind the scenes. I'm talking with the technician in Israel. His name is Common. He's a nice guy sometimes. Not always, just sometimes. It's true, Common. Sometimes you're mean.
Yeah. How you didn't stick to the times? I told you to stick to the times.
Actually, I'm fairly good at sticking to the times, Common. I don't think I go over very often. Yeah, you know when I go over? When Common forgets to tell me the time. Once again, your fault, Common.
We have a minute before we go back on.
1 minute to go. Okay, good.
Just finished my coffee.
Oh. I don't drink coffee. Did I ever tell you I never drank coffee? I don't like coffee.
Oh, yeah. What do you want? Little boys don't drink coffee.
That's right. Exactly. Maybe when I grow up, I'll drink coffee, Common. Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't think I'll ever grow up. That's the problem. Yeah. If you want to call in, you're watching on Facebook, you want to call in, the numbers to call, 301-768-4841. In Israel, 0265-00151. You can find the numbers on the top of the page on Israel News Talk Radio. .com. IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com.
Thank you. Not .net.
Not
.org.
Yeah. .com.
.com. All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's say then we're going to be on live in 5, 4, 3, 2.
I'm Howie Silbiger, your political hitman here on Israel News Talk Radio. Feel free to join me in the chat room on IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com. and you can click on that button on the top of the page. It says chat room. You also find the numbers on the top of the page to call in. It is a live show. You could call in. Numbers in North America, 301-768-4841. In Israel, the number is 02-6500-151. We're looking at the situation happening across the states. These riots and these protests and the pulling down of statues and the fake hate crimes. It's crazy. It's insane what's going on. It is a mark, I think, that the United States is falling apart, and they won't be so united for very much longer. I have a feeling that this country is going to become a wasteland. Anarchy is going to take over. It appears that the politicians have given up on trying to protect the country, and it's quite a sad situation and a scary situation. When you come to think of 350 million people living there, it's kind of scary. The thing that really got me today is a report that a NASCAR driver, those guys who drive cars around in circles, they race cars. I don't get it. I don't watch car racing. I don't like watching people just drive aimlessly around in circles, and it just seems pointless to me. But apparently, millions of people love that. So those people who love that, they watch car racing. And there's NASCAR and there's F1, Formula One. They're kind of different cars. So NASCARs are the stock cars, and so we take a look at NASCAR. And there's a guy, a NASCAR driver, whose name is Bubba Wilson, and he came out a couple of days ago, and he said that he found a noose. He's a black guy, and he says he found a noose in his garage for his car, and that's in a secured area, and only somebody working at NASCAR could have put the noose there. And the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, sent 15 agents to go and to check out Bubba's story, to make sure that that he's safe, and to find a culprit and bring the culprit to justice. And so these 15 agents did a full investigation, and they found out that the noose that they found in Bubba's garage was actually a standard garage piece of equipment. It's a loop, and every garage in NASCAR has one. And Bubba's been a NASCAR driver for a long time. He's been in and out of these garages a long time. Guaranteed he's seen it before. It's a loop that they use to close the garage doors. The garage doors are pretty high, so they have a loop, a rope, that they hook on the garage door, and they pull the garage door down. And that was Bubba's racist news. So this is like not the first time that that somebody tried to take advantage of a situation to bring attention to themselves. And so there was no pouring of support for Bubba. NASCAR banned the Confederate flag, which I have no problem with, whatever. And they had a big rally for him, and they marched him to the front, and they held him up on a pedestal, and Bubba was the king for 2 days. But they're not going to fire him. Now, if a white guy did the same thing and said that he was attacked by a black guy in the United States, he would be fired immediately. In fact, if I was in the United States right now and I said that on the radio, I would be fired immediately. Because the double standard stands that it's okay to commit a hate crime against yourself if you're black. We saw that with Jussie Smollett a couple of years ago. I remember I spoke about that on the show too, where he had to hire foreign nationals to commit a hate crime against him because he couldn't find Americans who wanted to commit a hate crime, because America isn't a country filled with hate. They're not a racist country. But there we go. Let's go to the phones. Willie from Virginia, welcome to the program. How's it going, Willie? Willie from Virginia, are you there? Willie going once. Willie, I can't hear you. Are you there? Willie going twice. Willie is gone. He's not there. All right. Thank you for calling, Willie. And if there was a problem with your phone, call back. We'll put you on. Numbers to call, by the way, if you want to get in on the conversation. In North America, 301-768-4841. In Israel, 02-6500-151. I have an issue with people faking hate crimes. And the issue I have is not so much the fact that people want to have a more, I don't know, more higher profile. That's not my problem. My problem isn't the higher profile these people are seeking. My problem is that when an actual hate crime happens, with all people faking hate crimes, and there's about 15, 16 hate crimes that were faked in the last year, high profile hate crimes that were faked in the last year. When people fake hate crimes, what happens is, when real hate crimes happen, nobody pays any attention to them. It's the boy who cries wolf syndrome, where the more you cry hate crime, the more you cry hate crime, and this is the criticism I have for the Jewish community too. And I've had that for a long time. The more you cry anti-Jewism, the more you say there's a Jew-hating incident when it's not, the less serious people take it when it actually is. And so these people who are narcissists, who create hate crimes against themselves, who pretend to have hate crimes, these people are the kind of people who actually hurt their cause instead of help their cause. And that's really a sad story. Hate crimes happen, but we want to we want to take them seriously. We want to know that they actually happened, and we want to know that we could actually find a culprit and actually go after somebody. When they fake them, it takes it a little less seriously. How many agents is the FBI going to send to the next hate crime? They sent 15 this time. They're not going to send 15 next time. It's a bloody shame. Let's go to the phones. Willie called back from Georgia. Hi, Willie.
Hello?
Hi, Willie. How's it going?
Hey, how are you doing?
I am good. Willie, do you have the stream on in the back? Because if you have the stream on in the back, you're hearing a delay, and that's probably why we're having a problem talking to each other.
It's what?
All right. What's up, Willie? What's on your mind?
Can you hear me now?
I hear you. What's on your mind?
Oh, nothing. Are you guys talking about the protest?
I am. Yeah. Do you think?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're way up in the mountains, so we really don't feel it too much. But you still got, 2 or 3 little clowns that want to come out and protest.
Right.
In the mountains. It's absolutely insane.
Do you think that the protests are justified? Do you think they have a point?
Yes, I do, but not to a certain extent. But do you understand? I mean, I spent 5 years in the Florida Department of Corrections, and I've seen numerous white people get killed with their knees on their head. So I don't think it's about race. That's all I'm trying to get across.
So what do you think it's about here?
What do I think it's about?
Yeah.
The cops think they have way too much authority over people. That's what I think it's about.
So you think it's abuse in the police force?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Did you or no?
Oh, okay. I want to hear what you have to think. What do you think? Do you think it's the majority of police, or do you think there's a minority of police that abuse their authorities?
No, not every police, but it's a lot of them. I mean, I'm sure you're not a criminal, so you don't have to deal with them on a daily basis. But for criminals, I used to do that up until I was 40 years old. But I'm done with that now. I've been done with that for 5 years. But up until I was 40, yes, you have to deal with them on a daily basis like that. They treat everyone the same. It doesn't matter if you're a black crackhead or a white meth addict. They're going to treat you exactly the same.
All right. So you worked in the Department of Corrections. Tell me, what kind of abuse happens in the Department of Corrections? What?
I worked? No. I didn't work in the Department of Corrections.
Oh, I thought that's what you said.
I spent 5 years in the Department of Corrections.
Oh, you were a prisoner. So tell me, tell what kind of abuses happened while you were there? What did you see? What did you witness?
I don't know if you ever heard of THC, which is synthetic marijuana, K2.
Okay.
Have you heard of that or no?
No, I haven't. No, I'm not up on my synthetic drugs.
You haven't heard of, you have not heard of synthetic marijuana, which is killing people every single day.
I've heard of it, but I don't know much about it. I haven't done much research on marijuana.
Right. Well, that's a big thing in prison right now, and all these they all smoke it. White, black, Mexican, it don't matter the race. They all smoke it, and they get fucked up on it, and they start they call it twacking out,
Right.
and they go crazy over this little marijuana, and the cops, they use that to their advantage to kill people every single day by putting their knee on their neck. And I've seen it at least, I'm not going to exaggerate, probably 8 times in 5 years.
Wow. Well, how were you abused by the guards in the prison while you were a prisoner there?
I wasn't, because I don't smoke it.
So
I sat back and did my time and watched everyone else do it.
So it's only the druggies that get abused. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but does that matter?
No, not at all. I'm just asking. Why do you think they're picking on the
Well,
druggies?
you're saying that it's the druggies that doesn't matter. They don't have the right to fucking kill you because you smoke marijuana.
No, of course not. Of course not. But tell me, why do you think it was only the marijuana smokers that were being attacked? I'm just curious. I don't know. So I'm asking if you have an opinion.
Why do
on
I
it.
think?
Yeah.
Because that gives them the right to do something. You know what I mean? Yeah,
All
you know,
right,
DOC has no. They don't have problems
Willie,
at
could you
all.
could you
They can come
Will-
fuck you up or any.
Willie, could you hold on one second? We just have to go to break, but I want to talk to you right after the break. Could you hold on? Willie, yes. All right, put Willie on hold. We'll take him right after the break. I'm Howie Silbiger. This is Political Hitman here on Israel News Talk Radio.
And we're off.
Okay, can I speak to Willie for 1 second?
When Willie answered you, yes, I
Okay.
muted him. So that you could,
Willie. Could you put him back on for a sec?
yeah, he's on. He's on.
Oh, Willie, when we come back, could you just watch the language a little bit, please?
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm a little fired up over this.
It's
really messed up what they do, and no one knows this because the DOC keeps everything from the public. It's like their own little world in the Department of Corrections.
which is why I really want to talk to you about this. I really want to get your perspective. I have never been a prisoner, so I don't have that perspective. But just tone down the language a touch because
I'll keep my language way down. And I got a whole story to tell about the hurricanes that we got evacuated in Gulf CI. You can look it up.
all right.
We were evacuated in Gulf CI for the last hurricane that destroyed, what was that beach name? In Panama City, in Mexico Beach. Wiped out Panama City.
Right.
That hurricane. So,
Wow.
crook.
When were you released from prison? How long ago?
I was released. I've been out a year in May 5th, 2019.
Okay, cool. All right, so hold on a second. We'll get back to you as soon as we get back on the air, and I'd love to hear that story. That'd be great.
All right, love.
Thanks.
I might get like DOC people coming here though.
All right, so those of you watching on Facebook and on Instagram, on Twitter and YouTube, we're just on a break now. We'll be back in how long, Coleman?
Let me see. In a few seconds.
Okay. Willie, coming back in a few seconds, Willie.
All right, tell them to look up that Gulf CI stuff
Sure.
where we got evacuated. Gulf CI, and we will hit you, Florida.
All right. Well, we're gonna go back on live.
Yeah.
Will, I'm gonna mute you for 1 second. Howie, in 5, 4, 3, 2.
I'm Howie Silbiger. This is Political Hitman here on Israel News Talk Radio. You could call in North America 301-768-4841. In Israel 0502-6500151. I noticed that some people were calling the 800 number that I use on the other show. Don't call that number. Call these numbers. These are numbers to get onto this show. I'm talking with Willie. Willie is a former prisoner. We're talking about abuse in the prison system, and I'm finding this fascinating. I just want to give you a little bit of warning. Willie gets a little fired up, and sometimes his language gets a little saucy. Let's put it. So he's going to try to control the language, but if a couple of foul words slip out, we apologize in advance. All right, Willie, welcome back.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I apologize for the harsh words. But.
No, it's okay. We'll just keep going and we'll move on. So Willie, you were in prison for 5 years. and
Yes, sir.
and you witnessed abuse. You say mostly against people who smoked synthetic marijuana, but you witnessed abuse in the prison system. Tell me, when you were
Oh, yeah.
before you were a prisoner, when you were committing whatever crimes you committed, I'm not even asking you. I don't even care what you did. But whatever crimes you committed, did the police harass you at all while you were out before you got arrested?
I mean, I went in the Marine Corps straight out of high school. Spent 6 years in the Marine Corps, and then got out with PTSD and had a severe drug and alcohol problem. So, I get all that. They can harass me all they want because I was doing wrong. But once you're in custody and incarcerated, I just don't feel like they should be able to do that stuff. That's all.
Okay, because you have no way
If
to.
I'm doing wrong, I get it. I get it. If I'm doing wrong, but I'm already in your custody, and you're still going to treat us like shit, put your hands on us every chance you get, and talk to us any way you want.
Okay, so so tell me some of the horrors that you witnessed in prison. You already mentioned a couple of them, but let me hear some more stuff, so that our listenership could have a general idea. Because I mean, most of us don't have the experience of being in prison and don't have the experience of dealing with prison guards. Let me hear some more of what happened to you.
No, I get it. I
people
get
you know
it.
in prison.
I have one charge in my life, and it went on for numerous years. I messed up. I was in drug treatment facilities, everything, and then she finally sent me to prison. And then as soon as you get off the bus in prison, you got all these guards yelling at you, slapping you, telling you do this, I'll do that. So it's not a great experience, but I'm grateful for that experience because it totally changed my life. I will never break another law again because I will never go back to the Florida Department of Corrections. That's for sure.
But let me ask you: Is
all the shit I saw in there?
let me ask you, Larry: Is prison supposed to be a good experience? I mean, you said it was a bad experience, but
It's not at all.
isn't it supposed to be a bad experience? You're being put into a cage. You're being incarcerated. You're being separated from society. Is that supposed to be a good experience? No, it's supposed to be a bad experience. It's supposed to be a harsh experience. And like you said, it changed your life.
Yeah, but it doesn't give them any right to break your rights.
True, but don't you sacrifice your rights when you commit a crime and get incarcerated?
Really?
I'm just asking. Isn't that
really? You're going to go that route?
Well, I'm asking the question.
So maybe you're one of these tyrants too.
I didn't say I was a tyrant. I'm asking the question. My job's to ask questions. So that's the question I'm asking. Do you not feel?
No, it doesn't give up your rights. Yeah, you're DOC owned, but they don't have the right to fucking hit. Hit you. They don't have that right. They don't have the right to put your knee on your head,
right,
and kill you just because you're smoking a little bit of synthetic marijuana.
No, I don't think anybody has the right to kill anybody.
That gives them no right.
All right. Now, how many times did you see prison guards getting attacked by prisoners while you were there?
One time in 5 years.
Okay. Was it a harsh attack? Did the prison guard have to go to the hospital? Was he killed?
Do what?
The prison guard. What happened to the prison guard? Was he hurt?
Was he got his ass whooped.
Okay. So you had to go to the hospital?
I don't know. We got locked down for 8 days in a cell with no shower.
Right. Do you think that was justified? The lockdown?
Maybe for the security, but it happens every day to prisoners. They do the same thing to prisoners every single day. I wish a camera crew could go in prison right now and film that shit. It is unbelievable. You guys would be amazed at that.
I would be. I'd love to. I'd love to see video footage of stuff like that. Not because I'm the kind of guy who likes to watch that stuff, but it would be fascinating to be able to see it, to witness it, and to talk about it, and to try to change it if there's something
remember the
wrong.
hurricane that came through Panama City? What was it called?
I don't know. Yeah, it was a few years ago.
Was that the right hurricane?
Yeah, that was a few years ago.
Yeah. I was at Gulf CI. That was the only, I think, one or two prisons They got evacuated. It was Gulf CI and Calhoun CI, and we were in a dorm. First I was in the work camp. You're not going to understand all this, but we're 8 miles away in a work camp. It's another prison, Gulf CI Forestry Camp it's called. We got transferred out of there to Gulf CI for a hurricane warning. The whole roof blew off the E-dorm when we were at. The whole roof was gone. They transferred 80 prisoners with their property to another dorm with murderers and rapers, and we were in a work camp. We're on minimum custody, right?
Yeah.
We can go out and work and all that shit. So they transfer us to a murderer dorm and put community custody inmates in 2-man cells, 4 apiece. Do you understand the custody levels of inmates?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. So they put you in with murderers and rapists.
That shit is so messed up. They follow no rules in the Florida DOC. No rules.
What?
I'm just wondering, like, who oversees it?
Okay, so what have you done since
The craziest shit you've ever seen.
in the year and a half that you've been out? What have you done to try to change the system? Have you lobbied government? Have you brought this up to anybody? Have you tried to make any substantial changes by your own effort?
Of course not.
Why?
Of course not. I mean, you think you can't tell on people in the Florida DOC? Are you kidding me? Once you get out, I'm done with it. I never want to hear another thing about them. I don't want to go back. I won't even jaywalk no more.
All right, but don't you think you can make a positive change by going to a politician or testifying in front of Congress or whatever to try to change things, to help better prisoners?
I just don't see. I don't see anything changing. It's a good old boy mentality, way up in the panhandle of Florida.
So you don't think that anything could ever change there?
I don't.
All right. Thank you for calling in, Willie. I appreciate you. I appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right.
All right. If you want to call in, 301-768-4841. In Israel, 02-650-0151. And I don't blame Willie for not wanting to push himself to go and initiate change. Most people don't. I mean, they feel that they could just sit around and complain about it, and that's fine. They could complain and they could argue about it and they could tell their stories. But if you don't actually go and do something to change it, then you're just allowing whatever happened to you and whatever injustices you saw, you're allowing it to happen to somebody else. You're allowing the perpetuation of the kind of violence. And this is the problem I have with the protests in the States. Sure, it's great. Get out there, cause awareness, protest. Don't go and riot. That's wrong. But go and protest, bring awareness to the issue, but then do something about it. I didn't quite agree with the politics of the Parkland shooting victims, Parkland, Florida, when the school got shut up and the students went out. I didn't agree with their politics, but I respected the heck out of them because they were victims, and then they decided that they weren't going to be victims. They were going to be initiators of change. They were going to go out and do something practical to change the system. They didn't like what they saw. They didn't like the fact that the police let them down, and they were going out to change things. So if you're not willing to go out and change things, I'm just wondering, it's just a question. I'm thinking out loud. If you're not willing to go out and change things, then does complaining about it really help? And that's the question. How do you, you could complain all you want, but if you're not willing to go out and do something about it, then what's the point? What's the point? And that's basically the question I'm asking about the riots and the protests in the States. Question I'm asking about Willie's story. If you're not willing to go out and do something to change it, then what's the point of complaining about it? You have to be proactive. I've always been an activist. I've always put my name out there. I've always put myself forward and said I'm going to be on the front line and I'm going to talk about it and I'm going to fight it and I'm going to do my best whatever I could do personally to change the situation that I feel was wrong. Now, sometimes I've succeeded. Most of the time I failed because going up against the system is not as easy as it sounds. But at least I put the effort into it. Put the effort into it. If you believe that people are being mistreated and there's some injustice out there, try to change it. Lobby your politicians. Run for office. I know Willie Casey probably can't, but that's what you should do. I'm Howie Silbiger. This is Political Hitman on Israel News Talk Radio.
And we're off.
All right. All right. So those of you watching on Facebook, we are taking a little break now, and we're letting you watch behind the scenes. You're going to hear my conversation with Kalman in Israel, and of course, you can feel free to call in if you want to talk to us. 301-768-4841 or 02-6500-151. And of course, you could join me in the chat room on IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com. IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com. Kalman, did you finish your coffee yet?
Yeah, I finished it.
Well, good. You didn't make me a coffee. It's not very nice of you. Kalman?
I think you'll survive.
You think I'll survive? I would like a coffee, Kalman. Could you make me a coffee, please?
No.
Okay. All right. I'll remember that next time you ask me to make you a coffee.
I'll never ask you. Don't worry.
You will never ask me. That's very nice of you. So we're going into the final segment.
What?
We're going into the final segment.
Is it? Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
It is. I'm paying attention, Kalman.
Well, do you expect me to pay attention?
No, not at all. Not at all. No.
All right. Then what are you complaining about?
I'm not complaining. I never complain. I'm just happy. I'm happy that people are watching, and I'm happy that people are watching behind the scenes this week. I didn't put a black screen up, which is silence. They're watching behind the screen. It's fun. I'm having a good time tonight.
Good.
Yeah. You're not having a good time tonight?
I'm having a
Today?
fantastic.
Yeah, because it's today for you. It's tonight for me. Well, it's not even tonight anymore. It's now this morning. Today, tomorrow, yesterday. How much time do we have?
Probably a couple of minutes. Let me see. Probably, yeah, a few seconds.
A few.
Did I say minutes?
Probably a couple of minutes. Oh, a few seconds. Okay.
I meant seconds.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
No, you whatever.
Uh,
All right, we're gonna go on live, Howie. In
All right.
5, 4, 3, 2.
I'm Howie Silbiger, your political hitman here on Israel News Talk Radio. Feel free, call in. Feel free to call in. Yes, English. Feel free to call in. In North America, the number is 301-768-4841. In Israel, the number is 02-6500-151. And I'd love to hear from you. So please call in, and let's talk. I'd started this segment off. I'd started the show off talking about a fake hate crime, and saying that I hate when people fake hate crimes because when they fake hate crimes, what they're doing is they're actually just minimizing the importance of real hate crimes, and so faking hate crimes pretty much defeats the cause. So if your cause is to stop hate crimes, faking one kind of defeats the purpose. And somebody messaged me on Facebook just after I said that at the beginning of the show, and then Willie called in. We got sidetracked with Willie, but somebody messaged me and said, "Well, at least the hate crime." What he said exactly was, excuse me, he said the hate crime is the Confederate flag flying at NASCAR, and I said, okay, but that's not what we're talking about. If you have an issue with something an organization is doing, you have the right to complain to that organization, to demand that organization change or not support that organization. Don't watch the races, don't pay for tickets, don't go, don't buy concessions, don't do anything, don't have anything to do with them. You have that option. But when someone fakes a hate crime, what they're doing is they're turning law enforcement's eyes away from hate crimes. So the FBI sent 15 agents to investigate the hate crime at NASCAR, which wasn't a hate crime, was a fake hate crime. The next time an organization or somebody says there is a hate crime, then how many agents do you think the FBI is going to send? They're going to send much less. Why? Because last time they wasted resources. Resources is money. And so nobody likes to waste money and nobody likes to waste resources, especially if it's a hoax. So faking hate crimes is actually damaging and could potentially hurt people who might be potential victims of hate crimes. And so that's really where it came. That's really where I'm coming from. And so while I may not agree with flying the Confederate flag anywhere, and I really don't agree with flying the Confederate flag anywhere, I more than that disagree with promoting fake hate crimes in order to push a political agenda, or promoting riots to promote Marxism. The leaders of Black Lives Matters, the main organization that's promoting these riots across the United States, has stated quite clearly that they support the boycott, divestment, sanction movement against Israel, so they're anti-Israel. But aside from being anti-Israel, they came out this week and said two things that are notable. The first thing they said was that their main goal in these riots and these protests is not that Black Lives Matters. That's the secondary point. Their main point is that they want to get Donald Trump out of office. So the co-founder of Black Lives Matters made that statement this week. And she also said, and these were both said on CNN, you can find them on YouTube. She also said that the people who are running Black Lives Matters and organizing these protests are trained Marxist fighters. And their goal is to turn the United States into a Marxist Leninist country. There you have it. They're being honest. And then this is what gets me, because Israel's guilty of this as anybody else. What gets me is that when the enemy says what they want to do, when the enemy says, we want to destroy you, we want to kill you, we don't like you, we want to murder you, you got to take them seriously. Israel for years never took the Palestinians seriously when they said, we want to come and kill you. And then when they came to kill them, they said, that's not really what they meant. What do you mean? If my enemy tells me, if somebody looks me in the face and says, Howie, I want to kill you, I will believe them. There is no reason for me to there's no reason for me to not believe them. Why wouldn't I believe them? If my enemy tells me, I want you to die, take it to the bank. My enemy wants me to die. The only thing standing between me and my enemy, the only thing standing between chaos and civilization, is the thin blue line of law enforcement. That is the only thing standing there. Now, are there abusive police? Yes, definitely. Does policing in every country need reform? 100%. But don't believe for even a quarter of a second when they say defund the police, and they're saying it now right across the world, defund the police, that they're not talking about abolishing the police. Don't believe that for a second. When the mayor of Minneapolis showed up to a Black Lives Matter rally 2 weeks ago, he was pulled to the front of the rally where a Black Lives Matters leader was standing on stage. She looked down on him and said, and you can find the clip on YouTube. Once again, don't take my word for it. Look it up on YouTube. She looked down at him and she said, "Hey, are you going to abolish the Minneapolis Police Department?" And the mayor looked at her and said, "No, I'm not going to abolish the Minneapolis Police Department." And she said, "You got to abolish the police department. We don't want no police." Those were her exact words. "We don't want no police." When chaos reigns and anarchy takes over, the problems that arise from anarchy, we saw. When citizens become the police, nobody wants to live in that kind of society. Now, I don't often make a comparison between today's world and the world of Germany in the 1930s. I don't make that comparison often because I don't think it's a fair comparison to make. I don't think we can compare today's politicians to politicians back then. I don't think we can compare today's society to society back then. It's not fair to make these comparisons. But at the same time, if we don't learn from history, we are bound to repeat it. And so we must look at history, understand history, and then be able to stop it when we see the trend starting again, because history always repeats itself. So way back in the 1930s, when police were abolished, and the army was made the police force, and the people were told to rat on their neighbors and to go and to turn Jews in, the population did. Chaos and anarchy ruled. And millions of people died. Not only Jews, millions of people died. I'm not differentiating between Jews and other people. Millions and millions of people died because anarchy ruled. Socialist societies never work. There's not one instance in the world of a successful socialist society, a successful Marxist society. Not one instance in the world. The only thing separating, once again, I'm going to repeat it because I think it's an important point. The only thing separating chaos from civilization is a small band of police officers and army. We'll put police, law enforcement, so police, army. That's all that's separating, and laws that enforcing laws is the only thing that's separating chaos from civilization. Now, I don't know about you, but I prefer to live in civilization. I prefer to live in a society of laws. I prefer to live in a society where if I break the laws, I get incarcerated. I've never been to prison. I see in the chat room people are saying, "Howie, you've never been to prison." I've never been to an American prison. Doesn't mean to say I've never been to prison. I've never been to an American prison. And I've never experienced, this is why I kept Willie on, this is why I wanted to talk to Willie, because I've never experienced the experience of being a prisoner in a United States prison. If there is abuse of prisoners, which there probably is, I can't imagine there isn't. If there is systemic abuse of prisoners, and there's a problem with abusing prisoners, then that has to be dealt with. But the only way that you could deal with these kind of problems is not through riots and throwing rocks at them, because they're just going to retaliate with the weaponry that they have. A police officer, a soldier, anybody with a gun's job, if they're wearing a uniform and a gun, their job is to kill or be killed. That is their job. If somebody comes to kill them or somebody comes to hurt them, they will use lethal force to stop it. That's their job. Now, whether it's right or wrong is a totally separate conversation. Morals, totally separate conversation. But that's their job. So, attacking them is not going to solve the problem. The only way to solve the problem, if the problem exists and you believe the problem exists, is to lobby your politicians, is to go to Congress, is to go to whatever, I say Congress, you go to Parliament, you go to Knesset, wherever you're going, whoever makes the laws, you go to them. You go to the media. You make a big deal about it. It's the only way to solve the problem. Now, I understand that once you're a prisoner, you don't want to get involved in this, you don't want to do this. I get it. But then other people are just going to suffer the same way you did. Somebody's got to take the bullet for somebody else. Simple as that. And you might think I don't get it. You might think that I'm naive. And that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine. But that's the only way you're going to change things. You can't change things by violence. Violence brings attention. Violence brings it to the forefront. But once it's at the forefront, you got to get the politicians involved. If they're not involved, nothing ever changes. History teaches us that. I'm Howie Silbiger. This is Political Hitmen. We're heard every week here on Israel News Talk Radio. I will see you again next week. Thank you for listening.
And we're off.